Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to the second part of this chess game tutorial. We pretty much got our board rolling now. We have all of these pieces, they are all spawned, but they're not really distinct. They don't really know what kind of piece they are. So we are going to start by creating a new C# script that is going to be the base for every single piece. I'm going to call this one chessman, which is another name for the chess pieces. So inside of the new chessman script, well, first let's make sure that this is a abstract script, because we are going to be using it as a base class, which every other pieces such as the rook, the pawn, they're all going to be inheriting from chessman. So as always, I'm going to clean my script up a little bit, and let's write few fields that we're going to be seeing most of the time in those pieces. So the first one is going to be a public int, and I'll put a capital here because it is going to be a property just like this. So public int current x, and then also public int current y, and we now have the information of where this is supposed to be on the board. Now let's go for another one, public bool, and I'll just type in is white, and that's going to let us know which team this piece is part of. Alright, so I just want to leave the base class like that for now, nothing too complicated, because we're gonna need more function later on, but we'll just add them as it goes. But what I'd like to do right now is make sure that every single one of those pieces has a chessman script attached to them. But now, since this is abstract, we cannot simply add this to the pieces. We gotta make sure that we have a new script for every single one of those pieces. So I will go ahead and just start doing that right now. Right click on the script folder, and I'll start with the pound. So I'll create a pound script, open it up, and then inside of a pound I will make sure this inherits from chessman. Remove everything, so clean everything up and just save. And I will go under my black pound prefab, drag and drop this. Is white is false, so that's true. Now I'll go under my white pound, and I'll drag and drop this. Make sure that you toggle is white. Okay, and we just keep going for every single one of those. So let's do say the king. This inherits from chessman, and then we clean it up, we save. Let's go put it here. So king is white is false, king is white is true. Next we could be doing the bishop, why not? And it's going to be the same thing for pretty much every single pieces. And yeah, so bishop, drag under the black bishop, drag under the white bishop. This one is white. And then we could do the knight, why not? Like so. And eventually we're gonna have a script for every single one of those, and we can group them as chessman. We can interpret them as chessman and not as a knight, as a you know, every single one of those scripts we make, we're gonna be all thinking that they are chessmans in the end. Okay, which one do we need? We got this one as well. We need the queen and the rook, and then we'll be done. So queen here, and I'll just add the rook right away. So rook. Oh, this wasn't in JavaScript. Never mind. So create rook. Okay. So in the base function, we're gonna have stuff such as move the piece over to a certain position. We're also going to have other function that is going to check, is this move available, and every single one of those pieces are going to have their own override. So not everybody is allowed to do the same exact move, and we're going to be able to define that in their own little function. So I'm pretty much done creating all those new scripts. I'm simply going to add them to the prefab. So on the rook right here, white rook, on the queen, white queen, we got the pawn, the knight, king, bishop, black rook, black queen, pawn, knight, king, and bishop. Okay. Now if we press play on this, we should be able to see our board over here with every single pieces, and all of the pieces, they have a chessman script on it. As you can tell, all the pawn have the pawn script, and then knight, bishop, another bishop, rook, queen, and king. Okay, so now we're sure that every single one of those inherits from chessman. We can go ahead and just start writing some more code inside of the board manager. So let me just open up the board manager. Up here, I am going to declare a new public chessman array. So chessman array of 2 dimension. This is going to be our actual chessboard. So this is where we're going to be able to fetch well, pretty much we're going to be able to fetch the pieces just using the X and the Y. So I think I'll be making this a property, so I'll just leave it like that. So public chessman multidimensional array, and then property. Okay, and then I'd also like to know which one is currently selected in case you have one selected. So I'll just do private chessman selected chessman, like so, and we should be pretty much good to go now. Okay, now so let's go down to the span chessman function. We're going to be changing stuff quite a bit here, so I'm going to find one of these functions, span chessman, and then F12 on it. It's going to bring me here. So we're going to be changing that a little bit. This is going to work, this is fine. Pretty much what we need to do now is just tell chessman with an S, which is our new multidimensional array, at the index x, y is equal to go.get component, and then it's going to get the chessman component of the object we just created. Okay, but we don't have the xy, and that's a little bit annoying because we need it inside of this function. Now we know that we have the vector 3 position, in which I guess we could say position.x, but the position in there is offset because of the center of the tile is not necessarily in the middle. So what we're going to do is we're going to be changing this parameter call as well. Instead of sending a vector 3 position, we're going to be sending int x and then int y, like so. And when it's time to get the position, we will say get tile center at x, y instead. So this is going to break pretty much all the calls we made down here. So we're going to need to go ahead and just remove all of that, like so, and only leave 3 ints as parameter. So the first one being which index of the prefab array are you spawning, and the second one is where exactly in X. The third one is where exactly you're spawning it in a Y, which tile. So I'll go ahead and just clean this up. I know this is a lot of code, but it's pretty much needed. And now I'm on the black team. And we just remove all the get tile center, and we put a single get tile center inside of the span chessman function. And there we go. Now everything should be working like it used to. Let's just make sure everything works. Going to press play. And no, there was issue here. Okay, so the problem was not on this side of the equation, it was on the other one. So chessman was never initialized. And we will be doing that inside of the span all chessman at the very top. Just below the active chessman is equal to new list, it is going to be the chessman is equal to a new array. And we'll say of tile, not tile, of size 8 by 8, like this. Now we shouldn't be getting that error anymore, and if we press play, our whole checkboard now appears. Okay. One more thing we need to do in the span chessman function is also set the position of that object. So for every single one of those pieces, we'd just like to assign them their current X and current Y. Now these are public, but what I think I'll be doing is I'll just create a function in that, So inside of the base class for chessman, I'll go ahead and just create a public void set position and then send in a x and a y, and we'll say current x is equal to x and current y is equal to y, like so. And let's just go down here, say chessman at the index xy dot set position. Oops, I think it didn't compile. Oh, I forgot the s here. Dot set position, and then we're gonna send x and y once more. Okay, so now we should be spawning all of our pieces. All of them have the chessman script on it, and they're pretty much somewhere, you know, they are in the array. They are present in the chessman array, and they also have their own position, and it should be correct. So the next thing we'd like to do is actually be able to move them. That'd be a great step. So we already have the selection going when we mouse over a tile. Now we're gonna make sure that when we press on, say, the left mouse click, it actually selects some things. So down here in the update, I'll just go ahead and say if input.get mouse button down 0, which is left click. So if we hit left click on the mouse, then let's go ahead and just first start and look, is there a selection X and selection Y? So are we clicking on the actual board? That would be a really important step. So if selection X is bigger or equal to 0 and selection Y is bigger and equal to 0, then if that's the case, we can now proceed to doing more action. And so we're going to be using the left click to select the object and also the left click to move that very object. So for that, we'll need to know, have we selected something? So if selected chessman is equal to null, that would mean we haven't selected anything just yet, and we can proceed to select the chessman. Else, that would mean we already have something selected, so let's go ahead and try to move it. So move the chessman. We're gonna need two different functions for that. I feel I'll just be putting them somewhere really close for now, so maybe here. Let's do private void select chessman, and we're gonna take a int x and a int y as always. Then the same thing down here, private void move chessman. We're going to take int x and int y, like so. Okay, so let's go ahead and try with the select chessman function. So say we have not anything selected and we're just left clicking on the board. The first thing we're going to make sure is there a chessman selected right now? So if chessman at the index x and y is equal to null, that means there is no piece where we click, so we need to return, and this pretty much fails. Now we also gonna make sure that whichever turn it is, you're not actually trying to pick a piece that is not yours. So what I'll be doing is up here, somewhere here, I'm not quite sure where, maybe down there, we're gonna declare a public bool, or actually let's make it let's make it public. So public bool, and we're just gonna say is white turn, and we're gonna put it on true at first because it's always the white player that starts the game. Okay, so that's our first check. So if there is no piece, let's go ahead and just return. Now secondly, if chessman at the index xy dot is white is not equal to is white turn, then we also return. So just say that your piece is a black piece, so that would be false, and it's actually the white turn, then those two would not be equal. This would be true and this would be false. You're trying to pick a black piece, or maybe a white piece. Yeah, you're trying to pick a black piece while it's the white turn, so that doesn't work. So once these two checks are completed, we can go ahead and just say selected chessman. So selected chessman is equal to chessman at the index x and y, like so. So we finally got our selection. We can now have it glowing a little bit later on when we do our polishing. or just give some kind of feedback. So let's just make sure that we put it inside of this call as well. So select chessman at X and Y. Do we have a X and Y? No, we don't. Let's go ahead and just type in selection X and selection Y. Okay, so that's our select chessman function. Now let's go down here and type in move chessman at selection X and selection Y. We can now proceed to creating our function. So we're going to be having a call inside of the piece itself that is going to check is our move allowed. And that move, or I mean that function, let's go ahead and call it something like a possible move. So I'll go back inside of the base chessman and I'll go ahead and just write public virtual void, or I mean public virtual bool. We're going to be returning or a true or false possible move, and then as always int X and int Y. Now since we don't know which piece we're on right now because we're in the base, let's just for testing let's just return true for now, and that's going to be our function that will override in every single one of those little scripts. So back in our board manager we can now say if selected chessman dot possible move XY, then if that is possible we're gonna proceed to doing some more checks. Else, or not even else, just in general, if you're doing a move that is not possible, we're gonna unselect the chessman. So selected chessman is equal to null. So say you're clicking a pound by mistake and you wanted the rook instead or something of the sort, and then you just click somewhere else, somewhere that doesn't make sense for that pound to be moved, then we're still gonna unselect your piece, so you can just go ahead and try with another until you actually make a move, and then we switch turn. But let's just go back inside of this if statement and just say that you have managed to make a real move. Then we're gonna say chessman at selected chessman.current X, and then selected chessman at current Y is now equal to null because you're actually moving now. You're moving the piece that was selected. So we go inside of the chessman, our big array, our big multidimensional array, and we just set the current position you're at to null because we're about to move you. So once that is done, let's go ahead and just write something really temporary right now. So selected chessman dot transform dot position is equal to get tile center, and we will physically move your piece now. But we also gotta put it back at the right spot in the multidimensional array. So chessman at X and Y is now going to equal selected chessman. And I forgot my S here. Okay. So that's a lot of untested code. Let's go ahead and hope that everything works. And we've got a first error. Let me go check. So, oh, I said is equal to null. I had to say is equal to null. This is not a condition. Okay. Now I press play, and I should be able to move every single one of these wherever I'd like to. So let's just go ahead and take a look. So here is our chessboard. We should be able to move our pawn if I just click here. I'm having some kind of selection error right now where it only takes one click to move, and it's kind of weird. So let's go make sure that everything is fine in the code. So I found the source of the problem, a really important problem actually. We said if input.get mouse button. Now this is going to be spammed quite a lot because it's every single frame that your mouse button is held down. We only want to know when it's being pressed, so we gotta say get mouse button down, like so. Sorry about that, little mistake on my part. Now we can go ahead and just try this again, and I'm going to click once and then pretty much put it wherever I like, so maybe here. Now if I click somewhere else, I should not have any selection. And now let's say I click on the pound again and I click back here, it should go back. Now let's try and move this guy. So everything seems to be working. but of course we can put them in any kind of places we want. We're not really respecting the rules of chess right here, and they also overlap. So say I was to take this bishop, and I'd say go over this pawn, then it actually stacks on top of each other, and that's definitely not going to work in the end. So we got at least our basic movement is done. And something else we'd like to do is actually let's change the turn when we move a piece. So we move a piece in this function right here in the move chessman. Now down there, let's go ahead and say is white turn is equal to is not white turn, like this. Now it's always going to swap to the other value. This way we're only able to move one white piece, and then we have to move a black piece. So as you can see, I can't move any other white pieces. I have to take a black one, then move it, and then I can't move any more black pieces. I should take a white one, and so on. Great. Alright guys, so that's going to be pretty much it for this episode. Thanks a lot for watching. We've covered the movement, we've also covered the turn base. Those are really simple. In the next episode, we're actually going to define the possible move for every single of those pieces. So guys, thanks a lot for watching again. If you like this video, please leave it a like, I really appreciate that. If you have any question or comment, you can always leave them in the comment section below, or use the Facebook page. You can send me a message there as well. And that's going to be pretty much it again. So I will see you guys in the next episode.